Our next actions in the More section are pause timeline and resume timeline. These are used when you want the timeline to stop for a specific reason, maybe to give the learner time to complete an interaction or activity, and then continue or resume from that same point in the timeline. You may or may not use the Open URL or File trigger very often. Most developers add links to websites or downloadable files in the Player Resources tab, giving learners access to that information throughout the entire course. But what if you need the learner to complete a specific task or answer a question before gaining access to that website or file? In that case, the Open URL or File trigger might be the better choice. For example, imagine your lesson covers a task the learner must perform on the factory floor during an emergency. You want them to understand the process without referring to the written procedure, so the activity includes a knowledge check to verify what they've learned. You wouldn't want to include the full instructions in the Resources tab because learners could use them during the activity. Instead, if they don't successfully complete the activity or pass the knowledge check, you could use the Open URL or File trigger to take them to the procedure afterward, allowing them to review it before trying again. The Send Email trigger does exactly what it sounds like. It opens the learner's default email program so they can send an email. You'll enter the recipient's address in the trigger's email field, and the program will automatically populate the To line when the learner clicks it. If you need to send the email to multiple recipients, simply separate each address with a comma. JavaScript is the heart of most online applications, websites, and interactive programs. It's one of the primary languages that makes digital content dynamic and responsive. Hearing that, you might think, isn't that what triggers already do? Why would I need JavaScript? Storyline includes about 30 pre-built actions in the trigger wizard. But what if you want to create something that isn't on that list? That's where the Execute JavaScript trigger comes in. It allows you to write custom JavaScript code directly in the trigger wizard. When you do, Storyline will execute that script just like any other trigger action, whether it's pausing a timeline, opening a link, or performing a completely custom function. For example, you might use JavaScript to display the current date in a course certificate, generate a random quiz question, or even automatically pull the learner's name from their LMS profile and display it on screen. These are things that aren't built into the trigger wizard by default, but using JavaScript, you can expand Storyline's capabilities far beyond what's available through the standard menu.